Koshy?
Yep. Mel, we're also seeing trailers going down up here at Kangaroo Point, boxes, containers, the whole lot. Look, for those people who've just tuned in, the Brisbane River did peak at 4.45 metres. That is below what authorities had feared, below the 5.45 metres of the 1974 flood. But as Pete Doherty and Mel has been telling you about, that does not lessen the danger here to the capital of Queensland. It is just extraordinary scenes here this morning, particularly the debris. There has been drama, as Pete Doherty has been bringing us up to date, on the Gateway Bridge. It has been closed 3 times during the night because of threats from major pieces of infrastructure that have broken away. The latest, as Pete has been tracking, is the 100-metre section of walkway that was bolted on to the CBD just behind me here to the riverbank. It has flown down the river at an amazing pace, and the Gateway Bridge has been closed while that has passed. Other big worries: the Moggle Ferry has broken one of its guide ropes. Crews are assessing that at the moment. They were looking at flying in by helicopter a 1.5 tonne anchor to add more support to the ferry. And also there's a barge called the Island. It's a party barge. I think anyone under 50 here in Brisbane has had a party on that barge. This is one of the big worries, and authorities are monitoring that very closely as well, plus the floating walkway. So a lot happening here in Brisbane this morning. Residents are waking up to amazing scenes. The big question they have on their lips, and as the rest of the country has, is all about the weather. What's it like? Let's go to our weather guru, Grant Denyer, to give us an update. Grant, what's the forecast, particularly first up for southeast Queensland?
Well, we're waking up this morning, Koshy, mate, in just one of the 35 suburbs that are currently just drenched and underwater, mate. And I've got to say, like this spider just sitting on this web right here, it's a very, very eerie feeling at the moment. Brisbane is yet to actually wake up. We're not seeing a lot of traffic. We're not seeing a lot of people coming down yet telling their stories. And travelling down here this morning with no lights whatsoever, it was just a very spooky existence. So kind of a really weird apocalyptic kind of feeling. So much so that actually about an hour before we arrived here in pure darkness with no street lights, nobody out at all, a taxi actually came down this street right behind us and just barreled straight into this water here at about 60 kilometres an hour and made it a fair way in and actually had to be rescued out of the car. So it's people are still coming around this morning. There's actually only going to be a couple of showers forecast for the Brisbane region. Certainly nothing that's going to be anything heavy or significant. A little bit more monsoonal stuff right to the top, to the tropics of Queensland, which is sort of traditional for this kind of year. Of course, there's 2 tropical cyclones which are circling Australia at the moment, one off the northwest coast of WA, which might have some sort of impact across the coast towards the weekend. One way off Queensland, up near Vanuatu, which will have absolutely no impact on Queensland whatsoever, but certainly nothing to be concerned about. Beautiful blue sky at the moment, which is going to give people the chance to just come out, take their first look at their homes. For instance, this street right here, there's about 20 houses underwater just in this single short street at the moment. There's been about 6 house renovations within the last 12 months around this area. Now, that's the cruel irony of and the pride in the people that have taken in their homes in this particular area, that they've gone through about 6 or so different houses have renovated. This one right behind us has just had a full reno. In fact, the owner just recently was in the process of putting a pool in the backyard just behind this row of ferns here. So isn't that a cruel twist? And now he has one in the front yard as well. So you know, that's what we're seeing at the moment. There's some people rowing down the main street. Let's just pop out this way and actually have a quick look and see them around here as they start to wake up and just find out what's happened to the suburb that they know and love. Yes, a gentleman in a kayak now just making his way down the street. That's the first sort of sign of life that we've sort of seen down here in this particular area this morning. The first opportunity to get in and look at the new water levels, the revised water levels, that's nearly a metre under what was expected. Now, we're at that peak right now at the moment, remembering this is high tide, or the tail end of high tide. These water levels are going to stick around for the next sort of 12 to 18 hours, and it's going to be a week before we see them recede properly and the river get back to its normal levels. In fact, let's take a look at the weather right around the country. The latest details for you as we speak.
Sunrise weather, brought to you by Beacon Lighting. Keep cool this summer with a ceiling fan from Beacon. 30% off your second fan sale on now.
So a ridge has stabilised southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales with just scattered showers and onshore winds. A trough is causing some areas of heavy rain and severe storms in western New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania and South Australia. That's the focus weather-wise at the moment in terms of activity, because falls of up to 100 millimetres are expected in those locations. Hot easterlies are pushing into WA while monsoonal showers continue in the tropics. Brisbane is waking up to chaos this morning, no doubt about it. Rising floodwaters have prompted massive evacuations and chaos, as you now know, in the CBD, as roads and power was cut and other services also shut down. A brief shower expected today with 28 degrees the top. Showers again tomorrow, clearing by Saturday and Sunday before some more showers arrive on Monday. Sydney, a shower or two on 27, clearing tomorrow, then a little rain developing over the weekend onwards. For Canberra, showers 26 the top, warmer with a little rain tomorrow. Showers forecast for the weekend onwards. Melbourne, rain and 27, windy tomorrow, mostly sunny for the weekend with some showers for the start of next week. Rain at 20 for Hobart, clearing tomorrow, mainly fine over the weekend with a wet start to the weekend. Adelaide, rain periods and 24, morning showers tomorrow, warmer and mostly sunny on Saturday onwards. A humid change for Perth today with 33 degrees, partly cloudy tomorrow, sunny over the weekend. Windy showers is expected in Darwin with 31 degrees, some rain and possible storms tomorrow and right through until Monday. Well, in 74, the locals were joking about how the local bowling alley flooded and there were 10 pins just scattered right throughout here. So the local kids had a field day jumping in to retrieve all the 10 pins, and they said they had their own bowling alleys for the next 5 years down their local driveways. The debris isn't quite as such like that today, although, you know, this is the thing you do need to remember about this kind of water is the contamination, the mixture that it can sometimes have with local sewerage. For instance, around the corner as well, obviously someone had contained some and amassed some amounts of oil. That's now gone through the local stream and you can sort of see it gathering around the road surfaces. Now, that's why people aren't encouraged to swim in the water whatsoever. So unless you absolutely have to, whether it's a matter of retrieval or just getting something that's absolutely crucial or escaping the water, you're not encouraged at all to get into that surface because it's not a healthy substance at this stage at all, Koshi.
Well, back in 74, there was a lot of deaths of young children. And back in there was another one in 1890. A lot of deaths of young children because they'd gone into the water and the diseases that they'd got. So, you know, it's not as clean as it might appear on the surface. Just back to something Grant said a second ago. You're talking about attitudes, and yesterday I went to the evacuation centre, and oh my goodness, just talk about finding a silver lining. I met a couple of ladies who had come to Brisbane on holidays. And obviously things didn't turn out quite as they planned. And they were the loveliest ladies, looking at it with such a positive attitude about, you know, they were warm. And you know, some of the people that we met in that place that had lost everything, that was still managing to look on the bright side and know that they were safe and they had their pets with them. And my gosh, you've got to take your hat off to people like that, Grant, don't you, at times like this?
Oh, sorry, Mel, I just missed that last bit.
That's okay, I was just chatting to myself. No, I was just saying how amazingly optimistic some people can be at times like this.
And that's just the thing, you know, you've put your heart and soul, you've put your hard-earned, you've worked your guts out to renovate your home for the last 12 months, just finished a renovation over here, for instance, and then now look at it. Now, there's 6 of those within this one block right here. Yet they come down and they go, you know what, it is what it is. And at least they had the kind of back history of 74. That's given them a little bit of preparation. And while we did see just a little bit of chaos around and mass buying around your local Woolworths and everything, the hysteria wasn't quite there. And although, you know, sometimes us young fellows, we cop a little bit for our, you know, reputation from the older folk of Australia, we were getting a good rap from a local resident who was saying it was great to see young kids driving past, jumping out of their cars and going, you know what, mate, can I help you? Can I grab something? Can I carry it up to higher ground and higher water? So it's good to see that age does not discriminate when you have such an incident like this that brings a community together. Everybody just jumps in, Mel, you're right.
You're a young fella. Good to know, Grant. Thank you very much. Koshy,
a whippersnapper.
Yeah, a whippersnapper. Thanks very much. We're seeing some wider pictures when you just get to sort of have a look from the air is when you get perspective, isn't it, Koshy, of how extensive that is and how it's just seeping through the city.
It is just extraordinary, and it is affecting so many lives. Thousands of Queensland residents have been forced to abandon their homes, of course, in the past 48 hours. The Red Cross is manning evacuation centres, and the organisation's Executive Director, Greg Goebel, joins us now. Greg, thanks very much. Really appreciate you taking time out for a very busy morning. You're expecting 6,000 evacuees. How many are in the centres at the moment?
Well, we've got about probably between 1,000 and 1,500 still at the RNA, and they're streaming in, of course. We've got a number of people now at QE2, but it's not just here. I mean, we've still got those evacuation centres in Rockhampton, in Mowra, in Emerald. So we've really got a lot of people right throughout Queensland, bunking down for the night.
Yep. We've been talking about the community service groups, the authorities doing such a great job. You're always there at the front line, and not only with shelter, but also a shoulder to cry on, some great advice. How are people holding up?
Look, I think the mood is changing. Clearly people came in a bit buoyant. I think after a while they realised the gravity of the situation. But look, we've got a lot of people who are just providing that care and comfort. We're making sure that people are happy. We didn't have to set up a bit of a kindergarten to give mum and dad a break from the kids. So look, it's all hands to the pump, but hard times.
And you have counsellors at each of the centres. What's the feedback from them?
Look, the feedback is that some people want to talk. I mean, clearly people want to talk with others who have actually come from the same street. We're finding a lot of people who are just wanting to be by themselves. The counsellors are actually talking to those people. But I guess the mood changes in those centres. I mean, some groups are happy, other groups are desperately worried, particularly the oldies. I mean, we've got a number of senior citizens there, and the desperation on their face is not a happy sight to see, really.
And they can feel so vulnerable, can't they? Which is the big thing. How many staff have you got working at the moment?
We've used about 900 staff so far. We've got people from all over Australia flying in. We've even got some Red Cross people from New Zealand coming in. So, we're stretched. I won't kid yourself, but look, we're managing well. We've got a great team. They're well trained. They know they're in for the long haul, but I guess they know that while they're working, there are a lot of other people who are far more desperate than we are.
The sense of community, that Aussie spirit that comes to the fore here. I know, it's un-Australian to acknowledge anything we do well in this country, but at times like this, the whole nation pulls together. You're stretched. What can people do to help?
Look, if people want to volunteer, we'd ask them to contact Volunteering Queensland. Frankly, we can't process the volunteers at the moment. Every single staff member we've got is working on the activation. But look, when people start to go back to their homes, that's when I think they're going to need their neighbours and friends. When they start to confront the mud in the houses, and I've seen a bit of the mud from the houses in Emerald and other places, boy, are they going to need a lot of help, particularly the oldies.
Yep. And it will last for months and months. News moves on, people's memory moves on. We've got the whole of the nation gripped with this situation now and for the next couple of days. But that often changes in 3 weeks or a month. We've got to be conscious. We've got to be here for the people of Brisbane and Queensland for the next year, don't we?
Oh, look, it's going to take longer than a year. I imagine there will be people who will still be in shock and trauma 2 or 3 months from here. But look, you make a really important point, because when everybody leaves town, that's when the work really begins. And for some communities, it's going to take, like Emerald and Theodore and Condamine, it'll be 12 months' work. It'll be 12 months' work.
And heartbreaking work as well, isn't it? What about people interstate? Do you need more resources, financial resources, goods, services, whatever?
Look, the critical thing really is to people to give cash to the Premier's Disaster Relief Appeal, and for 2 reasons. First of all, we need to preserve these people's dignity and allow them to buy what they want. But importantly, a lot of businesses have gone underwater. And if we start moving goods and services into those towns, well, the businesses will go broke. So we want to get community recovery starting in the community by allowing people to spend money with the businesses that need to survive in those communities.
Yep, absolutely. Bottom line is we can't forget in the months to come. Greg, our congratulations to you and your staff. Pass it on our very best to them, because you do such a wonderful job. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Koshy. Good on you.
Greg Goebel's there.